next, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Thursday night. Goldberg versus Lesnar is official. We give you our perspective on this past Monday's WWE Raw and a live perspective from SmackDown on Tuesday, where we were in attendance in Green Bay, and the latest on TNA Impact Wrestling and their challenges, which continue, unfortunately. All that and so much more coming up right here, right now on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Thursday night here from Casablanca on Brady in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius the Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockout straight edge hardcore Hall of Famer hero here on. It's our last show of October.
It is, and it's the Linda Kay Weekend Express coming up here.
What do you mean?
Well, it's birthday celebration.
It is
Linda.
Linda's birthday this weekend.
Yes.
We're going to be celebrating in Chicago, at the Hard Cock.
Oh, I've never been there. Isn't it like $50 you get in and it's all you can eat?
Yeah, and the breakfast buffet in the morning.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Well, anyways, folks, let's get right down to it. Big news this week coming from the world of professional wrestling, and let's kick it off, actually, with this week's WWE Raw report. We saw Raw from Minneapolis this past Monday night, featuring the return of Brock Lesnar to his hometown of Minneapolis, and he was met with a hero's welcome. But I thought it was interesting the way Paul Heyman turned that welcome around.
No, he didn't.
He tried his damnedest.
He didn't turn nothing. He could have spun around in the ring and that would have been better. But he didn't turn anything around. You have Brock Lesnar return to his hometown to try to be the bad guy, the ultimate heel, to talk trash about Bill Goldberg. And it couldn't have gone worse. It was perhaps some of the most awkward television I've seen in a long time.
So let me ask you this, because I think you're right. How should they have executed this, knowing it was in Minneapolis and they're on the fast track, because we found out when the match was going to be as well?
Well, I think what they should have done is not have Brock be in Minneapolis. I think they should have focused on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and not Brock Lesnar.
Sunday night.
Yes. And have Brock appear Monday on the Halloween episode. Okay. Where all the scary goons are going to be.
But did it serve them any benefit to have Brock Lesnar in attendance in Minneapolis for the live event audience?
Not at all.
No? They didn't sell another ticket?
No. Raw always sells out.
No, it doesn't. It didn't even on Monday.
Well,
it used to always sell out.
Then what good was Brock Lesnar being in his hometown? They couldn't sell it out.
Maybe they got closer to selling out, even though they didn't.
It was bad TV. It was completely uncomfortable. I felt bad for Paul Heyman, who is a wizard when it comes to words.
Yes.
And it didn't work. None of it worked. It was uncomfortable. It was awkward. The business wasn't good. If anything, they damaged Bill Goldberg by having everybody chanting for Brock Lesnar.
I thought they did the best they could in the situation they were in. As I said, Heyman tried.
Here's how I look at it. They are the victim of the schedule. Because obviously they have X number of weeks to promote what they want to promote. And I'm sure when they were putting together Brock Lesnar versus Bill Goldberg, they didn't realize that Minneapolis was on the loop. They just did, okay, this week we'll do this week that, boom, boom, boom. Oh, damn, we're going to be in Minneapolis, Brock's hometown, when he talks about Bill Goldberg. They're the victim of the schedule. They could have waited a week, which I think they should have done, because let's face it, Monday Night Raw was all about Chris Jericho's list.
It did kick off that way, and you also didn't like that.
It's not that I didn't like it, but that was the focus of the first 28 minutes of the show.
16.
No, because it went on past that.
And the match after, sure.
So it's like the list is now trending. And
they got a good thing, why not run with it?
The list now meant more than the World Championship, the first 28 minutes of the show.
I think it was well integrated into the overall story. I liked when Jericho did have to retrieve the list from Braun Strowman and then subsequently added him to it.
Yes. And you know what was, and I don't want to jumpstart SmackDown, but the two things this week were two irrelevant things that were most talked about on both brands.
On Raw, the list do you think is irrelevant? The fans love the list. Are you on the list? Do you wish you were on the list? That's why you hate it, because you can't make the list, because you're not on the list, because you're not listable?
The fans love the list, yes. But really, that's not selling tickets. Okay?
Well, neither is Brock Lesnar. So in your world, what does sell tickets nowadays?
Dude, the main event at Hell in a Cell. 2 chicks in a cage.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more time. That you think will sell tickets? All of a sudden?
Hold on. No, that's not either. Raw is just a rough show to watch. I mean, come on.
It is 3 hours. It's a 3-hour tour, worse than the SS Minnow.
I would rather be on the SS Minnow at times.
Because of Marianne.
Well, you got Ginger and Marianne. If you get bored, there's a different one. So.
Oh, lordy. Lots of wrestling taking place this past Monday night on Raw as well, David Hero, including Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. You hate that whole story, too?
It wasn't really a match. It was just a confrontation. Braun Strowman is a beast.
He's huge.
I don't understand why they want to have Sami Zayn in a program with him off the bat so quickly. It doesn't make sense because Braun Strowman needs to keep rolling. Braun Strowman needs to be the favorite going into the Royal Rumble. Okay? Because they have that up. Not saying he's going to win it, but he should be like, hey, he's unstoppable.
So do you give him the 12, 11, 13 eliminations that both Kevin Nash and Roman Reigns have?
Absolutely. And Kane.
Kane as well, absolutely, yes.
I mean, but if you're going to have Braun Strowman slip on a banana peel known as Sami Zayn, then you're defeating the purpose of trying to build up somebody to mean something.
So you bring up the Royal Rumble. Let's go back to that for a minute. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. That match has been made official. However, it has been made official to take place in Toronto at the Survivor Series in November. I'm very perplexed by this, David Hero, because clearly it's a network play / video game play. But they've got a domed building to fill in January that they couldn't fill last time they were there. So why not use this money match?
Time ago,
it was 1996, Shawn Michaels, hometown hero versus Sid Vicious. Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the Rumble, I believe, that year. That didn't do it. This match could do it. Why shotgun it to the Survivor Series? Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Because maybe they want Lesnar in the Royal Rumble.
Okay. Didn't think of that angle. Okay. But does that do it for the Alamo Dome?
I'm sure they'll have other things involved. I mean, I'm sure there will be a Shawn Michaels sighting.
They've been teasing quite a bit. In the announcement, they tease surprises.
I'm sure that there will be a Steve Austin sighting. There might be an Undertaker sighting because all those guys are in the Texas land area.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of the Undertaker, he was appearing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the NBA champions, just earlier this week, Tuesday.
Who would have thought that? Was Taker with his cane braces?
His what?
He was walking with walking
No, he was
canes.
not.
He has those now. He had hip surgery.
He looked fine. He presented himself as the Undertaker. He did not have any cane
Was he in
braces.
full gimmick and everything?
He was in full gimmick and everything, yes.
Oh, that's a hell of a payday then.
Well, LeBron James apparently wore or had an Undertaker T-shirt when they won the championship. And, you know, I did bring, speaking of championships, I did bring my hat. You know, since I'm from the area closest to them, I apparently am
How are they doing
to
so
support
far?
the Cubs. Well, as of this taping, they've not done so well.
Well, now you just killed them off.
No, I'm a fair weather fan.
That's what I mean. You just killed them off by.
Go with the flow.
You've never endorsed any sports team before. You just threw out the Cubs gimmick, and now.
I guess I just endorsed the Cubs then.
So you are going
Chicago.
So you are going to be the reason for their downfall.
No, they would be the reason for their downfall.
The millions of people in Chicago will then blame you.
No, they're going to blame Hillary.
They could.
You know, I heard a new name for her.
No.
We got it in our talking points, which I have electronically now.
I see this.
We're supposed to start this as of today, referring to her as Killary.
Killary. I thought she was a nasty girl.
Nasty woman. Nasty girl is Janet Jackson.
Yes, she is. She's pregnant, you know.
Is she?
Yeah.
Where were you 9 months ago?
I had nothing to do with that.
So, Royal Rumble, I'm still perplexed. Survivor Series. Now, let's not forget, though, we had The Rock team with John Cena before their first lifetime of a
and John
match
Cena
or whatever.
against The Miz and R-Truth.
Yes. The other two guys in the match, yes. But
Could
that
it have been
happened
more lopsided for those two guys?
And that happened at the Survivor Series. It was a big deal, right?
Of course.
That was pre-network. pre-network, I think. That was? Yeah.
Oh, way pre-network.
So the motivation for this, I think, only is, video game falls off. It'll fall off by January. They want to get those Christmas purchases, all the other stuff. So this makes perfect business sense. And I guess beggars can't be choosers. It's great to have the match. I just feel that perhaps...
Oh, you're starting to come around and understand what I'm saying.
No, I'm presenting my perspective.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I feel, though, that maybe this is a gateway, if you will, to the Royal Rumble becoming what WrestleMania has been. Meaning, you talked about those names we may see at that show. Maybe they're going to step away from WrestleMania being that nostalgia show, if you will, and maybe start focusing that a bit on the Royal Rumble, where it makes so much more sense, right?
But they still got to sell a lot of tickets for Mania.
Brock Lesnar doesn't sell tickets. You just told me that.
No, I didn't. I said he didn't sell in Minneapolis.
If you were, all things considered, the man in charge in Stamford, Connecticut,
Yes.
I know you wouldn't book this match, first of all, but let's say you did. Where would you put it?
Lesnar
and Goldberg.
it would be at the Royal Rumble.
Maybe a rematch. Maybe there's some shenanigans. I don't see how.
God, I
Well,
hope
Goldberg
not.
has been saying one more, not two more, but Shawn Michaels came back in 2002 for one more match as well.
I don't think Goldberg wants to have two matches with Brock Lesnar.
I don't think anybody wants to have one match with Brock Lesnar, to be honest with you.
It's Suplex City, and I don't know if Goldberg's a hell of a talent, amazing athlete, fantastic performer. It's been 12 years since he's taken a real bump. And after you get that first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 Suplex Cities, you land on the back of your head the wrong way. Come on.
Well, folks, that's it for this week's WWE Raw report. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come
There's
back...
so much more of Raw we didn't talk about.
Okay, go ahead. We got nothing but time here.
What
do you want to talk about?
No,
What do you want to talk about?
I mean,
There's so much more in Raw we didn't talk about. What do you want to talk about?
we didn't talk about seeing... No, we're good.
Let's go to Linda to tell us what else we have here going on tonight on PrimeTime.
Coming up next on Primetime, it's this week's SmackDown report, more on TNA's financial issues, and DWHS. All that and much more coming up on Primetime.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Friday, March 31st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the world famous Mango's on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson here alongside David Hero here at Casablanca on Brady.
Yes, on Brady.
Here in Milwaukee. What's your favorite hookah? They have hookah here. They have great Middle Eastern cuisine as well.
I love the Incredible Hulk hookah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Does it like you when you're angry?
It mellows me out when I'm frustrated. It has a reverse effect, but it has...
Maybe you should get one for during Feedback Friday.
It has
tomorrow.
one of the most amazing flavors on the planet. It's mango, cherry, grape, little watermelon.
Has it got those little mint leaves in it too?
If you want mint, you can add that to it.
Oh,
Sure.
so they make custom hookahs here too.
Everything is custom. If
Whatever you want,
yeah.
they'll make more?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Casablanca, for the hospitality. And it is now time to talk about this week's WWE SmackDown. I am wearing my SmackDown blue this week because we were there live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, just a couple of nights ago for a SmackDown on the USA Network, which, of course, featured two big things coming out of it. Firstly, Randy Orton, perhaps seemingly aligning himself with Bray Wyatt.
Stop it. Not at all.
That's the narrative we're supposed to go with.
Don't even start putting those doubts in people's heads.
Okay. He RKO'd Kane.
Randy Orton.
He didn't explain himself necessarily.
Orton is just getting in the head of the Wyatts. Why would you RKO your closest ally in this battle?
But he did.
He's showing them he needs nobody to fight those guys.
But he does.
Do you see the look on Harper and Bray Wyatt's face?
I did.
They were shocked.
Yes, they were.
didn't believe it. They couldn't understand. They're like, what's going on here? I feel bad for Kane. Kane did nothing wrong. But now you're going to have Kane going after Randy Orton. And the Wyatts going after Randy Orton. Who's Randy Orton going to get?
Well.
James Ellsworth. The most over guy on the SmackDown ring. That no chin music is a killer finish.
We did see James Ellsworth take another prominent role on SmackDown this past Tuesday night from Green Bay's Resch Center, where he was in the corner of Dean Ambrose in the main event contest against AJ Styles. A long match, a good match, but a match that ended with James Ellsworth delivering that no-chin music to AJ Styles, causing the disqualification. Dean Ambrose misses out on another opportunity to become the World Heavyweight Champion.
And here's what I was talking about earlier. Monday Night Raw, the focal point was the list. Chris Jericho's the list.
Yes.
Then you go to the SmackDown brand, the Boys in Blue, and who's the focal point? James freaking
Now, come
Ellsworth.
on. You had Natalya announced as the leader of the female team for Survivor Series. You had Randy Orton's situation. You had Bray. You had
But who
the main
got
event
the
as
most
well.
TV time? That little bastard with no chin. He did. The crowd reaction. I saw people buying his T-shirt for
Did you?
$25. No, absolutely.
How could you not be happy for James Ellsworth? How can you not be happy?
No. First of all, I am ecstatic for the dude because his life has changed. Okay? He went from indie superstar, if you want to even consider that, to now that he has been on, they are flying him all over the country. And you know it is not a cheap plane ticket from anywhere to Green Bay.
Right.
Because it's at least one, if not two connections to get there.
Yeah.
So good for him. I mean, he is like Colin Delaney. Remember him? Was it Delaney? Colin Delaney? No.
I know that name.
Who was the little skinny kid in ECW?
I don't know. That was Spike Dudley?
No.
Or Mickey Whipwreck?
On the reboot of ECW.
I don't recall.
He was
I
a
forgot
little skinny
those
kid
years.
that he beat Armando Estrada a couple times.
I've forgotten those years. I don't know. We could have the interns look it up. It's not my fault you don't remember. Don't go throwing your spectacles around, creating a spectacle.
First of all, I only retain important facts. Not all the other stuff that you think we should be. But right place, right time, right look. They're going to keep him around. He'll probably get signed to a contract. He will be one of the guys in the Royal Rumble. you know he will. He'll probably get bushwhacker Luke. Or bushwhacker Bush.
You're going to waste a spot on him.
Absolutely. He's old. Dude, did you hear the crowd reaction for that
I
kid?
did.
It's stupid. So
He's the underdog. People like to root for the underdog.
You had a notebook, the list, getting tons of TV
clipboard.
time on Raw, and then you have an super indie sensation, James Ellsworth.
I don't understand why you're hating so much.
I'm not.
You're jealous, aren't you?
No,
You wish it was
no,
you.
no.
You're jealous. You're
Oh, well,
jealous
who
of
wouldn't
James
want that much
Ellsworth.
TV time?
Okay.
But first of all, think about it. You have had guys, you have Kurt Hawkins, who has yet to really have a match on SmackDown, okay, getting bumped for James Ellsworth. Okay?
I don't know if he got bumped,
You have
per se.
America Alpha,
Yes.
the Usos.
Yes. Which we
Okay.
saw neither of this week, did we?
Why?
We saw the
James
Ascension.
Ellsworth took their TV
Oh,
time.
come on now. Really?
Yes.
You're.
There was
That's the good thing about SmackDown. It's a 2-hour show. They're going in different directions, doing different things. Not only
Hold
James
on.
Ellsworth, but also
Let
the
it be
Spirit Squad
known.
being back and getting a championship matchup, a tag team championship matchup this past Tuesday.
Ellsworth and the Spirit Squad. Who would have thought?
It's new. It's
But
different.
listen,
Well, it's not new. It is different.
I am not hating on. I love SmackDown. SmackDown
Loves you.
There's no doubt SmackDown loves me. Did you see all the Super Friends T-shirts at
Nope,
SmackDown?
sure didn't.
I did. I saw them there. And here's the beauty of it. It's a smooth show. I mean, it just that 2 hours, boom. I mean, for you, it felt like you were only watching it for an hour. I'm sure.
Yeah, they run by real quickly.
Yeah.
It was a good show overall. It was a nice, condensed, tight show. We had a special main event for us of The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental
Well,
Championship.
wait. First
to
of
end the
all,
show.
it was for everybody else, not just for us. You make it seem like we watched a boy show or something.
what
That's
they did
a little
was
awkward.
is they, due to being in the state of Wisconsin, put 2 endorsed talents in the ring against each other
Yes.
to showcase the supremacy
Who were you cheering for?
of the mindset of the Nelson
I was
family.
confused.
Whoever was ahead at the time. Fairweather fan.
You are such a Fairweather fan.
Live, first time in the new era of being at SmackDown Live, David Hero, your overall thought and perspective on the show.
I thought it, and we've been to Raw Live before, I thought SmackDown ran better than Raw.
Why?
It just has a different, more chill vibe about it.
Wrong.
I mean, I've even said, like, I tweeted out Monday, watching Raw.
You still tweet?
Yes. Not as much because too many people hate what I have to say. They don't
Isn't
listen.
that some kind of message?
They don't listen to the words. They don't read the knowledge. They don't appreciate the wisdom. They just want to nitpick. But the lighting on Raw is so sterile. It changes the whole mood. You have that little tint of blue on SmackDown, makes everything a little more, como se dice, copacetic, more chill, more relaxed.
What's your favorite color, David Hero?
Green. It's the color of money.
It's closer on the wheel to blue than red, so I guess that makes some sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a SmackDown fan. I don't think that's a revolutionary bit of news that you've shared.
Why are you surprised at green? What?
I just thought maybe it'd be like, yellow or like high yellow, like you trying to get out of this cage match and I'm going to destroy you in December 3rd at Blizzard Brawl.
Fear.
Yeah, and it's painted all over you. That one streak right down behind your back.
You're wearing a yellow tie. Fear right down your front.
This is not yellow, this is creme.
What did you get on yourself?
Tomorrow night on Battle of the Brands.
Well, we are at Casablanca. I guess you could say it like that here.
Creme. Tomorrow night on Feedback Friday, we will share with you what you thought was the show of shows this week. Which show took the week, whether it be Raw or SmackDown. That is this week's SmackDown Report. When we come back, folks, it's time to talk again about TNA Impact Wrestling. And the news continues to be not good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside that guy. And it's time now, David, to...
That guy?
Oh, yeah, I thought that's what you wanted to be referred to now.
No.
You did that whole thing during the commercial break, like when
my alter
one-man
ego,
gang changed into
alter
Hakeem.
Ego is Frank Lee Ignorant.
That is a better name than you've ever used, Frank. Lee?
Yeah, Frank Lee.
I don't see it.
You don't see a Lee in me?
No.
No, I don't either.
It's difficult to see. With that, folks, let's
Kim Lee.
talk about Impact Wrestling,
Kimberly.
TNA Impact Wrestling. And last week on this very program, we went in depth as it pertains to TNA Impact Wrestling. We told you about the lawsuit that Billy Corgan had filed against TNA Impact Wrestling, several other companies, including Dixie Carter specifically, and her husband specifically, along with the CFO of the company.
You know what's interesting?
Those documents
They're
at the
calling
time
her
were sealed.
Salinas.
That's her name.
Yeah.
Dixie Carter Salinas. Because that's Serge's name.
Remember
She's
when they had
married
a
to him, you know.
Salinas on the show?
They had a Selena.
I thought it was Selena. Salinas. Interesting.
They might have been Salinas.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's difficult to remember what's going on in ring from TNA because of all this out-of-ring drama. That lawsuit, when filed last week, had several documents attached to it that were sealed. Some of those documents have now become publicly available, and they indicate that Dixie Carter is felt to be insufficient to run the company. The company, TNA, is insolvent. The company, TNA, has been sold to many different suitors, if you will, different portions of it, and when they say it's insolvent, that means the company is not going to survive. That is Billy Corgan's allegation. Now, what does Billy Corgan want out of this whole deal, David Hero? He wants what he paid for. He wants Dixie Carter's controlling interest in the company turned over to him. That is what he is suing for.
Why?
Now, at the same time, I think the whys might be he indicated he was not aware of, when he made multi-million-dollar investments in the company, of Anthem Sports' involvement, Aerolux Media's involvement, and all the other people. That's Anthem. They're the parent company of Fight. Not to be confused with FITE Fight that we're on, but the Fight Network in Canada, which does own a stake of TNA and is actually seemingly trying to get ahead or into the results of this lawsuit, has indicated via a press release that not only are they willing to continue to invest in TNA for its future continuation and stability, they are also interested in refunding Mr. Corgan all the money he invested in the company. So Anthem, on the side, of Dixie Carter. They clearly want to see Dixie remain in control of the company, and some books they've looked at have shown that there is a viable financial reason to continue the operation
Wonder what
of
books they're
TNA
looking
Impact
at.
Wrestling. The ones that
I'm
were...
sure there's a couple sets.
Do you think they were scrambled or poached, the books they're looking at, when they were cooked?
Oh, I think they're baked.
This
Could be deep fried by now, for all I know.
This is a problem. Corgan wants Carter out. He
Well, you
wants
know
the
what?
company,
If
and he
I'm
is
Billy
sued
Corgan,
to make it happen.
Get your money back, throw a little bit of extra on top for yourself, and just get out of there. It is.
But does this not show that he has a vested interest, not just financially, but in the future continuation of TNA
Or
Impact
is he
Wrestling,
just-
or a wrestling
I
organization?
just think he's pissed that he was lied to.
Wouldn't you be?
And now, of course, now he's going to put the screws to him. But all of a sudden, as you're going to put the screws to somebody, you look, well, someone, confiscated your screwdriver. And now you can't even find a hammer in the shop because that's been sold to somebody else too. So all you got is your screws in your fingers and and get out. I mean, talk about an abortion of a company. You know what I mean? And now, let's be honest, some of the talents are frustrated. They're losing faith in the leadership. They want to jump
what's
ship.
the last thing they heard officially from Dixie Carter, because Billy Corgan refused to go to that meeting?
Lies?
She told them, well, it was Anthem Sports that funded the last round of tapings. Remember what we told you last week? They have not paid for last year's Bound for Glory production, 2015. They've been sued by American Express for $270,000. They have been sued they have a tax lien now against the company.
For like $4 million.
They have been sued now by another company that floated them a $450,000 loan for some insurance coverages, of which they've only paid back half. And that was due on a monthly basis, and they've not
They should
been
have taken
doing
out
so.
an insurance policy on that insurance policy.
Well, maybe she did. I said last week that this amounts to what appears to me to be a bit of a pyramid scheme, where Dixie keeps taking money from whoever will believe her and give it to her, and she's investing it in the company, but she's also
Ponzi
investing
scheme?
it. Yes, she's also investing it into
are illegal.
her own salary and her own mansion in Nashville, and those are the charges that Billy Corgan has raised.
Disgusting. It's disgusting that people, from the cameramen to the production truck to the mic guys to creative to the in-ring talents to the hairdressers to the makeup artists to
the on-site trainers?
oh, well, they don't have those. It's their livelihood that she was playing with, and didn't care about her own, about them, more of just herself.
Let me ask you this. Do you think she actually was trying to do what was best for the company and did care about the company and the talents, as she has said many a time, as she has said on this very program?
You know what?
Do you think she did care? Do you think she was trying to do right?
Let me just say this. I don't know Dixie Carter. I think I have had a handful of meetings with her.
Mm-hmm.
The few times she was nothing but pleasant.
Sweet woman.
She was
Kind,
very sweet
nice.
to Cal. She was very nice to Cal. All I can go off of is what she has done in this business, not as a human being, but in this business, has been nothing but bad decisions and a vanity project. She is, just last week, she tweeted out a picture of her action figure.
In the midst of all this.
What does that tell you about her character?
What does it tell you when you watch Impact Wrestling on a weekly basis and they have to put a bug and a crawl down at the bottom of the screen saying, be sure to follow our president, Dixie Carter, on Twitter? What does it mean when she feels that she doesn't have enough Twitter followers and she...
This is a true story. I mean, I'm sure it's been out there. If it's not, well, I'm sure, just give us credit for it.
DAVIDHERRO.
When Bubba Ray Dudley was there as Bully Ray and was on his Unfollow Dixie campaign. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He would go on live TV
Yeah.
and say, Unfollow Dixie.
Before you powerbound her through the table.
Dixie freaked out and asked one of her assistants, staff, interns, whatever it may be, to go and buy her more Twitter followers. That right there tells you it's a vanity project for her, not a business venture.
Let me ask you again, though. Do you think she did or does care about the talents in the company? She has, with all due respect, she's kept that company afloat for the last 12 years, 14 years almost.
But
now.
look how she's done it, by lying, cheating, and stealing.
Sometimes you got to do things that
She's
maybe...
not a Guerrero. But Salinas is similar.
Sometimes you have to cut the cord, right? Sometimes you have to say, this is
You know
not...
what?
You got to look at these papers and say, this is not going to work.
Listen, I am sure Dixie Carter is not a heartless woman, okay? I'm sure she has some sorrow in her heart for not paying her talents while she still collected her check every couple weeks, living in her mansion, while some other talents had to go on government assistance. Does that answer your question? I'm sure she feels bad about that.
Are you?
Sure. I'm sure there's a little bit of sadness as she pops open another $300 bottle of wine in her mansion, tweeting about her action figure that you can buy online.
They were sued again.
At a discount?
Yes. How does this end, David Hero? How does this lawsuit against TNA Impact Wrestling, and how does this end?
My question is, the Fight Network out of Canada.
Yes, FIGHT.
How much do they really want to throw into this thing? I said this before. It's a $10 million buyout to get them back to square one.
They could file bankruptcy and come out of this clean. They could do that.
But then, how do the fans trust them? Because they do have a small but very loyal fan base.
If they file bankruptcy, all of this goes away. It becomes a non-story, and it doesn't distract from what's going on inside the ring.
It does not go away. You know why it doesn't go away? Because all the lies are still there with no apologies. You need to say, you know what, yeah, we did bad business. We didn't do things the right way. Certain things weren't documented. Yes, we did take money from this when we should have gone over here, but we made sure this was done first. Our bills weren't paid. No, you don't give people like that a second chance. You don't.
The CEO is, or the president, they are sometimes the first to go, especially when a company has failed as much as it has.
I mean, look at your buddy Trump. How many times has he filed bankruptcy?
6, I believe.
And they keep
Those were
giving,
his companies. He never personally filed bankruptcy.
And they keep giving him money.
Because people
And now
believe in
look
the Trump brand.
And now look what happened. We're in this mess about building walls in emails and podestas and everything else. Proud of yourself?
I'm proud to be a Trump supporter.
You're getting
absolutely.
me way off
We're
track
going to make
on
America
everything.
great again.
I'm just going to keep grabbing them, in that special kitten area.
Oh. I am somewhat of a celebrity, so.
You are. I saw that last night, that
Can just do
Damian
that.
Nelson chant.
That is this week's TNA Impact Wrestling Report, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even going to say it. I don't want to bother. But now let's finish out this journey, if you will, David Hero, with this week's DWHS.
We're already at the DWHS.
We're already to
this week.
We got a big weekend. We got Feedback Friday tomorrow, and then Be the Booker on Saturday.
DWHS. I had an epiphany this week.
What, Tiffany?
She was with me.
At the mall?
But I had an epiphany. Watching SmackDown, AJ Styles is without a doubt the absolute best thing, most phenomenal thing in all of pro wrestling.
Best, most phenomenal.
Without
pun
a doubt.
intended.
You watch Raw, you see Owens, you see Rollins, you see Reigns, you see Rusev, you see Sasha, you see Charlotte. But every week, AJ Styles goes out there and gives the best match, whether it be with a James Ellsworth or a Dean Ambrose. There is nobody better. He is the MVP of the WWE as far as I'm concerned. And yes, he is on Team Super Friends, but I will say this, a couple years ago when he left TNA, I never dreamed AJ Styles would be the guy in a WWE ring, the top guy on the blue brand.
Do you think he dreamed it?
I'm sure he felt he could do it, but I'm shocked. And I will say this, watching him in the ring, I was proud and I was happy for him. He is having fun. Again, he is the best in-ring talent in that company right now. And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Good points, David Hero. Well said as well. And we'd be remiss if actually we didn't mention that. Brought up a thought in my mind of one of the newest talents inbound into NXT. In addition to the returning Mickie James, who's going to face Asuka at TakeOver in Toronto as part of Survivor Series weekend. But Ring of Honor's Roderick Strong
How about that?
Made his expected and anticipated debut in NXT a couple of weeks back.
And
he's endorsed too.
He's going to do great. He's going to be fantastic. And, those Ring of Honor guys, they all get gold eventually in the WWE.
Let me ask you this. If you are a Davey Richards, if you are an Eddie Edwards, who's a TNA World Heavyweight Champion
They both had their
now,
shot and they turned it down.
I'm saying, understandably so. But if you were them, how do you feel today?
Well, they're in TNA. I'm not feeling good at all right now. Because let's face it, you got to scrub that stink off when you're in TNA.
That is this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, ladies and gentlemen.
You roll your eyes, but you know it's true. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about James Storm? How does he feel?
I am unsure at this time.
He took more money. He was offered less at NXT because he wanted more money in TNA. And now he may not get anything.
Folks, that's this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We'll be back with you again tomorrow for Feedback Friday. You ready, David Hero, for Feedback Friday?
No, not at all. I should get one.
And then on Saturday, it is Be the Booker for Hell in a Cell. Until then, folks, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow on Feedback Friday.